Steve Harvey, Kevin Hart. I even say Nick Cannon, even though people don't really know he's a comedian. He started as a comedian. He's a comedian first.
Yeah.
But he started out in comedy, and what did it do? It took him to television, it took him to movies, it took him to music, it took him to books, it took him to radio, it took him to podcasts.
Took him to 15 Babies?
It took him to 15 Babies. Because he has the bag. It's not the joke. It's how you present it, how you word it.
Yeah.
So let me ask this question, G.I. Jane.
Yeah.
With Will Smith situation. Was that off limits or?
No, it wasn't off limits.
Okay. So was Will Smith right?
No.
Or was he wrong?
I think he was wrong. Why? But he chose.
Why?
But he
stand on it.
He knew. Okay, I'm gonna say this.
Yes.
First of all, he wouldn't have did that to somebody that was bigger than him. He wouldn't have did that to
Earthquake.
From the 80 or 80,000? Are you living for 80 years on Earth, or the decisions you making trying to take you well beyond 80,000 years? Let's find out. Our first guest, we got a comedian. We got a brother here, right here from Hampton Roads, making it happen. Entrepreneur. Welcome, our man Derrick.
Woo!
So Derrick, you've been in the area for a very, very, very long time. You've been affiliated with the industry for a very, very long time. But you've also dabbled and dabbled with a lot of other different things that deal with bringing in a vast amount of income. So to say that you're not putting your eggs all in one basket is an understatement when it comes to yourself. So
correct.
You were born in Carolina, I believe.
I was born in Fayetteville, North Carolina, on an Army base. Fort Bragg. Family was Army, so they got stationed in Fort Eustis in the early '80s, and I've been here ever since.
Okay, awesome, wow. Awesome. So, give us a brief description of your childhood and some of the things that happened in your childhood that led you up to being the man that you are right now.
We grew up. Okay, so my mother and grandmother was born in a country called Panama.
Oh, wow.
My grandmother is bilingual. So the story is, my grandfather was in the military. He met my grandmother, married her, brought her to the States. My mom was already born. My mom got pregnant at 16, and here I was. Wow. Yeah, man. But so
father wasn't in the picture.
Not in the early years. And he's old now, and I forgive him, and we good now. But in them early years, he wasn't around.
Okay.
And so it was just me, moms, and my other siblings. I'm the oldest of 5.
Wow.
I'm the oldest of 5. So I was like the man of the house from like 6.
Come on now.
Yeah. And so we grew up in the projects. Some of the projects, low income house out here in Newport News.
Okay.
And I had to learn how to get it. I used to sell candy and little things. I always been a hustler. A hustler in a sense, not in a negative way, but always trying to make some money, but not trying to get locked up either.
Right. Yeah.
Candy here, scout tickets. I was doing everything.
Yeah.
And so I had my first little job when I was like 16. The dude had a little restaurant. I'd go in there sell sodas and the cakes. So it's always been it.
That's awesome.
Okay.
That's awesome.
So being the oldest of 5, that's a lot of pressure. What was the impact on you in terms of being the oldest of 5, and how did that impact your decisions growing up?
Well, I felt like I had to be a role model early on. They watched me. They saw me working as a teenager. Like, you got to make money. I was the first in my family to actually go to college. Old Dominion University, shout out, what up?
Oh, to you.
Smart arts. So all of my siblings went to college. One didn't finish, but but my mom relied on me a lot. I was the babysitter all the time.
Most definitely. Right.
I'm the babysitter. I can't hang out with friends because mama got to work. I'm the babysitter, so I had to become an adult. I feel like almost earlier than I wanted to. And sometimes when I worked, in being a single parent home, you know, my mom needed help around the house. So
Yes.
sometimes my income had to go towards the bills, and I wasn't ready for that.
Right,
I wanted
right.
to buy some shoes and clothes.
There you go.
Take the girl to the movies. But, you know, I had to help the family out too.
So expand on that. So because you necessarily weren't ready, and because you were put into a position where you had to do things a little bit differently from people that were regularly your age, is there some resentment that you have towards
not at all. I feel like it. No, not at all. I felt like it all made me the guy I am today. So I just feel like, you know, they say God will put more on you than you can handle.
Right.
And so I think all that shaped me to the gentleman I am now. Because, you know, you can't choose the family you're born into. You just have to take the cards that you dealt and make the best out of it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Have you always been like a funny person? Like funny, what was that in your family or?
Well, you know what? My grandmother was goofy. My mom had goofiness. But for me, I wasn't the class clown in high school. It wasn't me. I wasn't none of that. It wasn't until I got to college when I just started just cracking jokes and just having a good time. And always wanted to make people laugh. And I have jobs and I'm being silly. And they said, "No, you so stupid." And they meant that in a nice way.
In a nice way, right?
And so I heard, so on campus, we used to have this thing called open mics. Old Dominion back in the day. I don't know if they still doing that. But people would sing, do poetry, rap. And I said, you know, I'm going to try some jokes. And at that time, all I knew was like, I talked about campus life. I talked about dating. And that's where it started.
Right.
Okay.
Then I said to myself, I wonder where they do comedy elsewhere in Newport News. And so I found this place called the Virginia House of Comedy. It's no longer here, but it was in Virginia Beach. We're talking early 2000s.
Okay.
And
okay.
And I came up with
Shout out to the Virginia House of Comedy.
Yeah, back in the day. R.I.P. House of Comedy.
Yeah.
So that's where I started. And I met some other people who, there's a gentleman named Jake Pharoah. He went up to blow up. He was on Saturday Night Live.
Oh yeah, Jay Pharoah.
Jake
Yeah.
Pharoah, yeah. We started together. But yeah, so that's where it started. And I kept honing it. And it started bad. I mean,
Tell us about that. What do you mean?
So comedy is very subjective. And it's not just talking, telling the joke. It's confidence. You got to sound like you know what you're talking about. It's stage presence, it's delivery. And I think at the time, I didn't really have the confidence. So I'm up there, I'm telling the jokes, I have the words, but I didn't have the confidence behind it. And I feel like, you know how they say a shark can sense fear, or somebody can sense
Oh yeah.
people. They will see me and I'm on stage trying to deliver the jokes, and I got booed. I got booed for about 2 years straight.
Wow.
Yeah, I got booed a lot.
Wow.
I got booed a lot. Okay, the Funny Bone, which is still here today, they had something called Apollo Night.
Okay.
And it's called Apollo Night for a reason.
Right.
They ain't like you. You got to buy it. You had 15 seconds to make stuff fun.
Yeah, you're right.
You had 15 seconds to get a laugh. And the thing about that, we had, and I'm gonna say this: black people are hard people to make laugh. On top of that, black folks, they come in there angry. You better make them laugh or else.
Right. It's a culture thing. It's
Yeah.
They going through something.
You gotta come out there. You gotta come strong, or
You gotta be
go
ready to
home.
roll.
Yeah. So that's where I started. So, and I'm not saying you don't got to be hilarious for other genres like white folks, but I feel like they come in there like, look, I had a hard day. I'm here. You better make me laugh or else. But that's where I started, and I had to learn some things. Get my confidence. And I studied the greats. You know, everybody got to study the greats.
Okay.
And this was when YouTube was just starting. Like, I'm an old guy, so
Yeah.
YouTube wasn't really out there to watch clips. So I had to read books back then. I was reading books about Bill Cosby and Red Fox and Richard Pryor and Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
Even Jerry Seinfeld. And
Wow.
all these guys, and anything I could watch about them, you see, man, what is it about this comedy that I'm not really grasping that can help me further my career in this?
Right.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
dope.
So let me ask you a question. So you said you went through a lot of challenge. Your first 2 years, you got booed. I can only imagine how that made you feel.
Yeah.
in those 2 years, when you look back, what did you learn about yourself and what you needed to do to further that and improve?
Perseverance, dedication, and don't give up. You can't give up, because if you give up, it's never going to happen for you. You have to learn what doesn't work and don't do it again. You know,
say it again.
you gotta learn what doesn't work and don't do it again. That is it. So I had to learn just simple things like don't look down at the floor. Look at the crowd.
Okay.
You know, look at the crowd.
Yeah.
Look at all of them. Project your voice. Don't try to stay in the front of the stage. You know, all type. And you have to learn the jokes. Comedy is a form. It's psychological.
Okay.
Because I'm trying to get an emotion out of you.
Right.
Trying to pull an emotion. And there's a formula. There's a setup, which is a not funny. And then there's the punchline, which is the funny.
Right.
So it's the setup, then the punchline, and then you have what's called a tag. Then there's some comedians had different gifts. You know, some people they could do voices. Some, and you know, Jay Pharoah, and you know Godfrey, or if you know Eddie Murphy, they were good with voices.
Right.
And even Jamie Foxx.
Yes.
Jamie Foxx,
yes.
I think, is like one of the most talented individuals like ever. I mean, this dude could sing. He does impersonations, and he has the setup punchlines.
Right.
But for me, I had to take what I know how to do and how to write. You got to write.
Okay.
And you got to go to open mics.
Yeah.
You got to go to open mics. You have to practice this craft. And the thing about open mic, which is different from any other craft, let's say playing an instrument. I could play an instrument in the house by myself for months and years until I get it together. You can't do that with comedy. You have to practice that comedy in front of a live crowd.
Right.
Because you got to see, does this joke work? It's always got to be funny to you first.
Gotcha.
But it got to be funny to them too.
Gotcha.
So you go out there and you got to try that joke out, and you're like, man, okay, they laughed a little bit. Okay, but you got to try it a few times, and then you got to tweak it. You got to write it. So a joke is never really complete. A joke is really never complete.
Wow.
You can take a joke. I mean, I like Katt Williams. Katt Williams got a joke about one thing, and that joke is like 15 minutes long.
Yes.
And it probably started 1 minute.
Right.
And it's just over the years, oh man, I'm gonna add this to it, I'm gonna add this to it, I'm gonna add this to it, I'm gonna add this to it. And next thing you know, you got a joke. I have a joke about an ex, and go from one joke to about 15-minute rant.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's comedy for you.
Wow.
So that leads me to that segues into my next topic.
Yes, sir.
And so Katt, so let me start right here. The year 2024, we call that the year of exposure.
Okay.
And it started with a man named Katt Williams, who just
You're
exposed.
talking about the Shay.
Oh my God! He just exposed everybody.
The entire industry, really?
The entire industry. He exposed everybody. And one of the things that he really exposed was the fact that some comedians are just not funny, and other comedians basically steal other people's material. Touch on that for us.
Well, Katt Williams, I feel like he has some truths with some exaggerations. I watched that interview. Like, come on, dude. I mean, I feel like he has some truths, but I feel like there's a lot of exaggerations of some of the stuff he said. But when he said he read how many books a month, or how many books he said?
He said some crazy number.
Then he said he can read
3,000.
I believe him though.
3,000. I believe him.
I don't know about 3,000 though.
He said he's read about 3,000.
That's a lot. That's a lot. Every day, 2 books. Like, when are you doing anything else? And that's something he said he can sprint faster than somebody else. But comedians do it. I think it's not cool, but they do it.
They do it.
It's not cool, but they do it.
Has anybody ever stolen your material?
This is the thing. You can't do nothing about it if they do, because this is what happens a lot of times. It was funny that somebody could take a joke and make it better. But what happens is sometimes comedians, they remix your joke. And they'll take the joke and remix it and make it their own. Like, same topic, little remix.
Right.
You know, that was their joke. It happens. I've heard people say things, but there's nothing you can do about it. I mean, you can get mad and fight.
Yeah.
Right.
But you can't really copyright a joke. I mean, you can't do. This is the thing. whoever says that joke first on a main big platform
Right.
is always going to be coined as their joke.
Right.
Gotcha.
So if I have a joke right now
Yeah.
and it's working, but I haven't exposed it on television
Yeah.
or on some big viral network,
Right.
and then let's say famous comedian Katt, since we say his name, he hears my joke and he goes on the television, say it on his next special. It's now his joke.
Right.
I can't do nothing about it.
Damn.
Because there's a thing where a lot of comedians like I believe Funny Bone a lot.
Yeah.
They have like open mics or they have like I open up for some of the bigger names a lot of times, and the comedian could be in the back of the room just listening, and he's like, "Yo, I like what he said." And you take that. And he's going to the next
remix it, right?
He's going to the next with your joke. It happens a lot.
Yeah.
It happens a lot.
Wow.
They might tweak it or they might not.
Wow.
You said something else before that. What was that? You said something about the stealing jokes and what else?
So I was saying, not only do people like actually like just steal your jokes, but they also they expose you to the saying that these comedians are not funny. Actually,
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
What's your
I'm not a fan of saying somebody's not funny. Just say they're not my cup of tea. Because I'm gonna tell you something. You could say Jeff Foxworthy, or somebody Jerry Seinfeld.
Yes.
Everybody has their own audience. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like he may not be my cup of tea,
Right.
but I bet you if he comes this area, he's gonna have a fan base that goes support him.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So everybody's not your cup of tea. But you don't need everybody don't need to like you anyway.
Yeah.
You need a couple 100,000, maybe a million followers. There's billions of people. I need a million. If you get a million people that like
You're good.
I don't need everybody. You don't need everybody.
But in some aspects, because I know we talk about stealing jokes and stealing people's material, but in some aspects, is that in some way paying homage to that person?
No, heck no.
No?
Not stealing a joke. You're not giving nobody credit. It's different than music. It's like the music is different. You can't steal a song.
Wow.
You know, you can, but not a joke. It ain't paying homage. You're straight stealing.
Yeah.
Now, there's a difference between me writing for somebody.
Okay.
I write material for them and they
Right.
pay me, and it's their material.
Right.
But if you ain't compensating me in no way, shape, or form, that's straight stealing.
Right.
And it's not cool, and people get hurt behind that.
Is there ghostwriting in comedy?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Now, usually among the celebrity ones.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
up and coming people don't need ghostwriters.
Right.
Okay, gotcha.
You need to write your own jokes and build your own name. But this is how it works. You get good, you get noticed, then you get paid. That's how it works.
There you go.
You got to get good. Get good at the craft. You get noticed, whether it's social media, whether you on stage and somebody sees you, or if then you get good, then somebody who could put you in a position. You get good, and then you get your book and everything. You do TV shows, movies, whatever.
Yeah.
Now you're getting paid. You're on the radio shows. Yeah.
Let's switch gears a little bit. So you talked a little bit about coming up with Jay Pharoah.
Yeah.
And, we know Jay Pharoah is, he's good with voices. And what was that experience like with him coming up in that world? And what did you learn from him?
Well, he's gifted. He has a giftedness that I don't have, and that's impersonations. He can listen to you and mimic that.
Right.
And it worked for him because it got him on Saturday Night Live.
Right.
Which they do a lot of
Yeah.
reenactments of
Right.
characters and all of that. I met him, he was 16.
Wow.
We're talking early 2000s. He was 16, I was early 20s, mid 20s. He was 16, and back then he was doing a lot of voices, rappers, and whatnot. But from what I believe, he was opening up one time and for Charlie Murphy. Charlie Murphy saw him. Rest in peace, Charlie Murphy.
Rest in peace,
Charlie
And he took him on the road. Took him on the road.
Really?
Took him on his wing. Charlie Murphy took him under his wing, and I guess that exposure allowed him to meet some execs.
Right.
And live, he auditioned, and
Rest is history.
Rest is history.
Wow.
December 5/7. Go ahead, Moses.
I was gonna say, did he ever reach back to you and
Not necessarily,
Okay.
but it's cool. I mean, because there's a lot. I'm not the only one there's a lot of comedians that from back then. I shout out to Bodacious. He's from Norfolk.
Oh,
Shout
yeah.
out to Angus Black. He's from Norfolk. There's a lot of comedians, and they're all doing their things individually, but not necessarily. I mean, he's cool. We're cool, but it's not like we can't. It wasn't like we was in a group and. If I make it, we all make it.
Right.
It wasn't bad.
Gotcha.
So speaking of the 757, you've brought a lot of people up and coming, and I've seen you do. You had your Friday night comedy show.
Right.
You've had a different number of venues that you've experienced. 757, this area right here. Have you found it difficult as opposed to other areas where I've seen you host or actually be an act? Have you found it difficult to become the star that you would necessarily want to be as opposed to the other areas? And our audience is different from in other areas like Atlanta, New York, as opposed to here in Virginia.
I think where you're from, there's this thing where you want to be you want to become the big fish in a little pond, Virginia.
Okay.
Virginia is the little pond, and I'm a little fish, and I grow, and I become the big fish. And that's when you go venture out. Like, I travel throughout the country doing comedy, but you want to get good where you at. You don't want to go to Atlanta, New York before you're ready, because first impressions mean everything.
Okay.
If I just started doing comedy,
Right.
and I go to Atlanta, and I get booed off the stage, they remember me as a guy that sucks.
Right.
And it's going to be hard to get back in that door. I'm glad I got booed in Virginia.
Right.
I got booed at home. Now I'm good. Now I can go to LA, I can go to Chicago, and I can rock out. And now they meet me for the first time, and they meet the good me.
Right.
And so a lot of people leave. A lot of people leave prematurely. And I'm talking about comedy. As far as is it harder here? You have to grow your audience. You have to have a product people want.
Wow.
Right.
You have to have a product people want. And I don't care. Comedy is my product, and I've been fortunate and blessed to have people support my venues and my events for the last 16 years.
Yeah.
Because I have a great product. I'm not charging you too much. It's nothing. The comedians are funny, and people tell me all the time, even though, man, I feel like I was at the corporate clubs, Funny Bone. Like, I really try to put together a great product. So people got to feel like it's worth their time and it's worth their money.
Well, let me ask you this. So, in the times that we're living in now,
Yeah, right.
in this crazy times we're living in, we talk about politics. You got Donald Trump. You got the stuff that's going on with Puff Dad. How do you decide, or how do you balance what your material looks like and when you present it?
Nothing's off limits. You have to be sensitive to how you present it. I've heard jokes about some of the most heinous things that happen. You just gotta, if you are a good writer, you know how to. One of my favorite comedians, but a lot of women hate him, is Corey Holcomb. You ever watched him? Because he's very vocal. he talks that talk. But he's a words craftsman. I mean, he talks about sensitive subject to him. Like, he might talk about abortions, right? Which is a very touchy subject.
Right.
But he'll talk about that thing and make it funny.
Right.
And like, oh man. But again, it's not the joke. It's how you present it and how you word it.
Yeah.
So let me ask this question: G.I. Jane,
Yeah. The
Will Smith situation. Was that off limits or?
Yeah, no, it wasn't off limits.
Okay. So was Will Smith right?
No.
Or was he wrong?
I think he was wrong.
Why?
But he chose. But,
Why?
But he
Expand on it.
he knew. Okay, I'm gonna say this.
Yes.
First of all, he wouldn't have did that to somebody that was bigger than him. He wouldn't have did that to I don't know.
Earthquake.
The Rock.
The Rock.
Corey Holcomb. It would have been.
I disagree with you. I mean, Will Smith's from Philly. Will Smith's not a little small guy.
He probably
That's
not.
true. I mean,
Yeah, but I
he's
don't.
not a small guy.
But the joke wasn't even crazy. Like, what's really offensive about talking about your hair, your short haircut?
Mm-hmm.
He was making a comparison to her short haircut to G.I. Jane. The character had a short haircut.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't mention anything about her disease. He was talking about the haircut. If there now, and I'm talking about what I saw on the television. If there was some stuff we don't know that happened behind camera,
Correct.
I don't know about that.
Correct.
That was the build up.
Right.
I don't know.
Yes.
You don't know about the build-up.
But comedians tell jokes,
Right. Yeah.
and I don't play those games. There will be a full-fledged fight if you try me. No, I don't. That's not cool. It's not cool. And nah, it was cool.
Do you interact with your audience? Do you
Yeah,
joke?
absolutely.
Do you joke on your audience?
Well,
do you roast them?
Not mean-spirited.
Okay.
If I do, they have to deserve it. You have to help them.
Like a heckler, right?
Because this is the thing. Anything you do to take the audience attention off of me, I got to get it back.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's deep.
No, that's real. If you say something and everybody's looking at you, now it's off for me. Now I got to say something to get it back. So now you're going to be the butt of the joke. Yeah, that's how it works.
Wow.
But if he say something crazy, then I got to say something crazy. You can't hit him. You can't hit him super hard and then they hit you.
Okay.
Like if somebody's
Because you can. You are.
you can't. But you got. If somebody's like sometimes somebody might say, "Ha ha, that was fun. I like that joke." You can say, "Shut the fuck up, bitch." You can't say that. That doesn't deserve what they didn't say anything mean.
Right.
Well, let me ask you this. So, you're right. In a sense, I don't think Will Smith this is probably a different way he could have handled it, right?
Absolutely.
But if me and you friends, and we've been friends 10, 15, 20 years,
Right.
and we got a relationship, and year over year at the same event, you tagging me, you ragging me, you roasting me, we got a relationship, but at some point you touch a nerve. And me and you, because we're close, and I feel like certain things are off limit because we're close, did that give Will Smith any leeway in doing that?
So this is the thing, and I as a host of an event, you know who's the audience, the big names are that's going to be there.
Yeah.
So you look, okay, Will Smith is going to be here, Jamie Foxx is here, I don't know, this person's here, so so you're getting your jokes ready. Like, to be honest with you, none of that stuff it's all scripted. I'm not saying it's not scripted,
Right.
but the jokes prepared for them were scripted. He knew there's a scene assignment. You know who's going to sit here. Tom Hanks is going to sit here. The Rock is going to sit here. I got some jokes for all of that. And if Will Smith felt that way, he should have said, "Hey man, look, I don't appreciate that. Don't do
Behind closed doors.
Behind closed doors."
Right.
Gotcha.
And that's how I feel because you embarrassed Chris Rock. Like, that's an embarrassment.
Yeah.
Because you smacked him, made him look like a bitch for the whole world.
Right.
And Chris Rock ain't do nothing. To this day, he didn't sue him. He ain't get his get back. He just did it.
Wow.
Like, it couldn't be me.
Yeah.
That's dope.
deep.
That's dope.
deep.
That's dope. Relationships. Are you married?
I'm not married now.
You're not married. How old are you?
This year, I'll be 45.
45.
All right.
So let me ask you a question. If you never got married,
Okay.
do you have any children?
I do have children.
All right. If you never got married, would you feel like you were a failure, or did you feel like?
No.
And why haven't you gotten married up until this point?
God damn. How many? These hoes.
Hey, you keeping it real, right?
Yeah. That was a segue.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so listen, the closest I ever got to marriage was the mother of my kids. We were dating.
Okay.
It didn't work out. I consider myself right now single and dating. I'm single and I'm dating. And I have a thing. I date them all too, because a lot of times they drop off and now you're left with that one. They're like, cool. That's how it is with me. Dating is weird these days because every you got to find somebody who's compatible with you. So now that I'm in my 40s, I date different.
Yeah.
You date different than you dated in your 20s.
Like in your 20s, you just bad, she had a fat ass.
Right.
That's all you care about. But now, I need a woman that's useful for me in my life.
Ooh, okay. Talk to us about that. What does that look like?
Can you help me make my life easier?
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I run businesses. Can you help me? No, I'm a teenage. I'm a parent.
Can we toast to that?
Oh, we're gonna toast that. Can you help make my life easier? And again, the man should do that for the woman as well.
True.
So I don't just need a bad bitch. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And our personalities got to mesh. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've done a number of dating, and once you find your person, that's great. But I think, and a lot of times, a lot of people in the dating phase, they don't really work because you find one thing, he bites his nails, he ain't for me. Like, this shit is crazy. His dating is so wild.
It's different. It's different. It's different.
He don't got the bag. I thought he had the bag. The man got a good job, but he a broke ass nigga to you. The 50-50 talk, that's the thing. The 50-50 power to build. I mean, it's just a lot. Yeah, man. So my thing is, I just want somebody who's compatible with me, useful, somebody.
So backstroke.
Yeah.
If you never
No pun intended.
No pun intended.
If I never,
No diddy.
if I never get married.
If you never get married.
Yeah, oh Lord, we're being truthful. Look, I'm getting, there's a saying that says, "Why get the milk and the cow free?" I don't know. I'm not lacking in any department, but I would like marriage. Marriage is not bad. It's not bad at all. And growing up in a Christian household, I think you should be married. If you're doing a wild thing, and you should do that. And you want to set an example for the kids and all that. But I mean,
Let me ask you this.
I'm not gonna.
How has social media changed relationships from where it used to be, like you said, 20 years ago, to now? What
You want a real answer?
We want a real answer.
Social media has made the world smaller.
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
So
Man,
much smaller.
yeah.
Yo, there was a meme I saw. They said back in the day, let's say 30, 40, 50 years ago, the person you hooked up with, dated and married, was somebody you either met at school, church, or the job, or the neighborhood. Wow. The neighborhood, school, church, or the job. That was it.
Yes.
How else you meet people? Social media made it so much bigger. I've never been to this part of Virginia, but you found my Facebook page and you sent me DM. Yeah. And now I have access to you.
Yeah.
The only thing we have to do is connect.
Yeah.
Social media, look, I've done shows, post on social media, and people were like, "Oh man, I came from here, I came from there." Social media made the world so much more. People I would never traditionally bump into. Social media brings them together.
Wow.
I have no business in Surrey, Virginia. I'm not. What's in Surrey, Virginia for me? I'm nobody there, but you DM me, you live there. I thought you was cute. We met. You rest is history.
Rest is history.
But
Pennsylvania, Atlanta, it makes the world so much smaller.
But have the expectations changed? Because you talked about girls wanting the bag, and they're seeing videos, they're seeing this lifestyle on social media that sometimes doesn't really depict what reality is.
That is true.
And when they meet a regular guy, like you said, I'm working a 9 to 5, I'm doing my thing, but you see me as being broke. How do you deal with something like that? And is that part of your comedy, your stand-up? Yeah,
but the thing about it is, what's the word they say? A man of value. What's that? Kevin Samuels. What was his name?
Kevin Samuels.
He man of what is it? Man of what was that term he used? Men of value, something like that. But you have to. They just nobody not be for you. They just if you're not for me, then I'm just keep it moving.
Yeah.
I'm not. One thing I'm not going to do. I'm not going to try to pretend that I'm this person.
Right.
I'm not buying no Birkin bags. I ain't. Nah.
Yeah.
You better find a guy that can do that.
Yeah.
I put it like this. Girl called me, say, "Hey, I need some help with the mortgage." I said, "Look, I can't pay the mortgage, but I could put something on it." What do you got to add to it?
Paying the full bill, though.
I ain't nah. I can put something on it.
Put something on it, right? I got 5 on it.
Wow.
I put something on it.
We talked about Eddie Murphy. We talked about Katt Williams. What comedian has influenced you the most?
There's a lot.
No, if you let's break it down to 3.
Funny. I like Jamie Foxx.
Mm-hmm.
I like Kevin Hart. And it's not necessarily because I think he's the funniest. Because I love his business acumen.
Okay.
I like Steve Harvey.
Steve Harvey.
Steve Harvey's funny, but his business acumen is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
So comedy opened the doors. Steve Harvey, Kevin Hart. I'll even say Nick Cannon. Even though people don't really know he's a comedian, he started as a comedian. He's a comedian first.
Yeah.
But he started out in comedy, and what did it do? It took him to television, it took him to movies, it took him to music, it took him to books, it took him to radio, it took him to podcasts.
Took him to 15 Babies?
That's funny. It took him to 15 Babies because he has the bag. But comedy opened the doors, and so yeah, I like the comedy can open the doors. Because now you are a person of influence, and people will pay you to endorse them.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So those, and of course, if I go back, I like the Eddie Murphys and the Richard Pryors. I like that. But again, it opened the doors, and so that's what I would love to do. That just comedy. Oh man, you get a movie, you get some commercial gigs, you're touring, you got products, and I was in a bar, and Kevin Hart has his own tequila. He has his own tequila.
Yeah, he does. Yeah,
he just building brands, and you see musicians do that too. They come out the clothing line, and they have shoes, and they start production companies. They have sports agencies. So I love to see that. You take something, you make money, invest, and you have this huge umbrella. So that's what I'm working towards as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So we're getting close to the time, but before we end, we always want to do greatest of all time. We're gonna play a little game. Okay? All right. So greatest of all time: LeBron James, Michael Jordan.
I'm gonna say LeBron.
Okay, I respect that.
No, I have my reasons. Even though I'm from the '80s era, but LeBron, he was amazing on and off the court.
Wow.
He's like a Muhammad Ali. You don't hear. I don't recall. Maybe there's one instance, but LeBron has done so much off the court.
The school.
He opened the schools up. He put his homeboys on. All his homeboys. His agent is the man. He gave all his homeboys positions, jobs. I never heard him having a family issues outside his. I mean, you gotta understand this. He's super famous, rich, and I've never heard of, unless he has a great PR person or whoever keeps that shit tight. Never heard about him stepping out on his wife.
That's facts.
Never heard about it.
Yeah, that's
I mean, let's say it didn't happen, but you don't even know about it.
That's facts. That's facts.
And again, his numbers are kind of better than Jordan's too.
Okay.
I mean, he's played longer, of course. But.
Okay. Greatest of all time: Atlanta, New York, or Los Angeles.
It depends for what though. For acting, LA.
Comedy. For comedy, what?
For comedy, New York.
New York.
Okay.
Wow. Why?
Why? Yeah.
For acting, LA.
Why?
New York, you could do so much comedy. Because New York is tight, compacted. People live on top of each other. I could do 6 shows in one night in New York, starting at it's like 5 p.m. to like 2 a.m. LA is spread out. It could take 40 minutes to get from one location to the next. You could jump on a train in New York and get there. Bow, 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 bow. I've done several shows in one night. So New York, you can hit so many shows in New York. LA is not so much.
Wow.
For comedy, New York.
Wow. That's dope. Greatest of all time: Harlem Nights.
Uh-oh.
You gotta say my other one.
Coming to America.
Come to America. That's it. Come to America. The first one.
The first one,
Came
of
out in
course.
88.
Yeah.
The first one.
Absolutely. That's one of my favorite movies to this day.
Okay, well, let me finish.
Sure.
Harlem Nights,
They gonna be
Coming to America, or 48 Hours.
Come to America.
Coming to
Still
America.
Come to America.
Woo.
He was hilarious.
Yeah.
He was hilarious there. He had all City Hall in there.
So
He had the characters. It was the first one to do multiple characters.
Yeah.
And you see other comedians do that. You know, you see Martin do that now, Jamie Foxx doing that. All that started with him. Yeah.
Great. I got one for you since we talked on that subject.
Yes.
Greatest of all time, Eddie Murphy or Katt Williams in this era?
Eddie. Still Eddie.
Still Eddie.
Yeah.
And he's a
I feel like Katt is one-dimensional. He's a pimp. That's all you can think of. Hey, boy, he's a pimp. Like, he doesn't have any other range. He's a pimp. If you see him in a movie, what is he playing?
You always thinking pimp.
He's a
That's
pimp.
right. Yeah.
Eddie Murphy he had range.
Multiple range.
He had range.
Multiple range.
Katt doesn't have range to me.
Yeah.
That's dope. That's dope. Well, Moses, you want
All
to
right.
get to our last question?
So last question. Are you living for 80 years on Earth? Meaning that are you trying to have a good time for the moment? Or you trying to leave a legacy that stretches beyond 80,000 years?
Absolutely 80,000 years.
There we go.
I mean, the good word says a good man leaves a what's that? Fortune for his children's children. I'm trying to set something up.
Amen to
I'm
that.
trying to put something, trying to plant a seed and it grows for my future, my kids, grandkids, great grandkids. That's what I'm. Yeah, I want to leave the legacy. Absolutely.
I've known you for many, many years. You're not afraid to learn different things. You know, I've seen you do so many different things. What has inspired you to not stop learning?
As long as you're alive, keep learning, or you're just going to be dormant. I read somewhere that our brain is so powerful, but we're not even using half the capacity that it could do. You know, I've met people that can speak 4 fluent languages.
Wow.
Some people can't barely speak 1. To speak 4, you know how much mind capacity that takes, and they still have so much going.
Right.
So I love to read books. I love to educate myself.
Yeah.
I mean, I learned things like I just learned how to bartend recently. That's my most recent.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Bartending.
I saw that.
I've been making drinks.
Yeah.
A few years ago, I learned massage therapy. A few years ago, I learned how to drive trucks. I got my CDL.
Nice.
You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, we're alive.
Right.
Time is going to go by.
Right.
Do something with it.
That's right.
Come on now.
Come on, now tell
Do
us.
something with
Come
it.
on now, Derek.
Do something with it, man.
good.
I'm not the guy that can
good.
just sit and binge watch Netflix for hours and hours a day. I could watch something, but I need to do something productive. Productive.
There you go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, before we go, we definitely want to send our prayers out to California. We know that everyone there is going through a lot.
Absolutely. Prayers go out to California.
Fires going on and everything like that.
Yes.
So we definitely want to send prayers out to California. One more pause to our guest, our very special guest.
Yes, sir.
Thank y'all. Thank y'all. Woo! Have a good time. Thanks, sir.
Thanks, bro, man. Love you, man. We appreciate it. We got to see you guys next time.
All right. That's out.
Peace.